What's up guys, Silver here with another Halo Infinite Achievement Guide. This time we're doing part 3 of our all collectibles walkthrough. This is that big continent to the north of the map, and it includes that tiny little island up at the top as well. So this is our biggest continent yet. I'm calling all these continents, all these different sections. But we have 14 lockers, 36 audio logs, 14 cores, 18 prop towers, 2 skulls, and 2 artifacts. So let's get going on this one. We are going to work our way roughly from top to bottom. So from the top, the only thing on this island is the catch skull over here in this canyon. So this is actually guarded by a couple hunters. So we're going to basically just dive in there, get the skull, and jump out of there. We don't need to kill them or anything. I put this on easy, so you could go skull hunting and all the collectibles. Do that on easy if you want. And that way you don't have to worry about all these enemies killing you while you're trying to grab all this stuff. So you can see I just left my wasp behind. I don't want the hunters to damage it, even though I could just call in another one. I don't know why exactly I feel like I needed to do that. I could just fast travel back to a base as well. But here we go. We could see the skull here is sitting in this canyon where I put the nav point, and I just had to follow it here, and it's sitting in the stump of this tree. And you can see I'm getting barraged by these 2 hunters. But since it's on easy, they're not doing too much damage to me, even though I'm taking a lot of direct hits. But that was the catch skull. Now we're situated in the bottom tunnel of Outpost Tremonius. This leads into the back of the base or out into the field, which is where we're headed. And you can see the big Forerunner structure directly ahead. But right in front of it is a crashed lifeboat with our first audio log inside. So grab that. There may be some enemies in the area, but don't worry about them. Just go in there, grab it, and we'll head to the next item. Immediately south is a propaganda tower and a Spartan Core, so we're going to tackle those 2 items. We're going to get the propaganda tower first because the Spartan Core is actually buried below the surface, so we're going to have to go into a tunnel for that. So we're going to take out this propaganda tower from afar. You can get up close and personal if you want as well, but I'm just going to take it out with the wasp, and then we're going to land the wasp, and we're going to go on foot to get into the tunnel with the Spartan Core. So you're going to see from here where the propaganda tower was, we're going to turn to the left towards that big Forerunner structure, and there's actually a green lit tunnel where the Spartan Core is. So you're going to go into this green tunnel, and you're going to go down and take a right. You could take a left, but that's a dead end. You want to take that right, and you go into a Forerunner structure down here, a Forerunner room, and there's going to be a Spartan Core sitting in the back of it. So just open that up, and we will be able to move on to the next item here. From here, I'm just going to continue going south. There is a big, giant Forerunner Artifact in the field here, so it's tough to miss. You could mark it on your map if you want to. I'll show you that location later on the map, but it's right before the big lake right here, or the pond, whatever you want to call it. You can see on the map right there. It's just sitting right on the edge of the water here. So head down here, whatever your means of transportation is, whether it's a flying vehicle, a driving vehicle, or if you're just on foot. So we're just going to scan it right here, and that's the first of 2 Forerunner artifacts in this section. We're going to hop back into our vehicle, or again, just go however you're going, and we'll be able to move on to the next item, which is very close by. It's actually on the island in this little pond. There is a Spartan locker, so we're going to take whatever happens to be in there, whatever armor coating they give us for that one. But let's be real, we're in it for the achievements here. We'll pull up our TAC map here because this one is a little bit further. We'll slap a nav point on the propaganda tower up here, and we'll be able to fly up, just fly straight to the nav point. Makes it a lot easier, so you don't have to know the map too well. You can just fly to, that giant beam of light striking the Zeta Halo surface from above. And it's a shame you have to destroy these things because they're pretty hilarious when you walk by. And now I'll turn to the left because I know the next one is up on this cliff here, but again, we will open our TAC map and add a nav point just to make it a lot easier. Don't even have to think about it, really. Ignore the fact that my wasp has now turned into a banshee. I was starting to get attacked by banshees, so I ended up bailing on my wasp and hijacking a banshee. So that's how that happened. But anyway, we'll turn over towards this direction now, and there's going to be an audio log. You can see there's kind of a small valley in this big mountain on the underside of Outpost Tremonius here. So we're going to just kind of go in this trench. It's actually a giant crater more than a natural valley. So you can see all these crashed ships, or maybe just one ship that's in a bunch of pieces. But we're going to go down here, follow this path, and turn into the wreckage here. And you're going to see there might be some enemies here, but maybe not. But what will be here is an audio log. So grab that, and we will peace out of here. We don't need to kill anybody in this area. So just grab it and go. We're on to the next one. Pulling up our always useful TAC map, we will head back down towards where we started this area, started this continent at least. On the lower section, you can see there's a propaganda tower in the middle. And I'm trying to string these together in a somewhat rational way so we don't, go back and forth too much. I'm sure there's some slight changes and tweaks that could be made to this path, but generally it's an okay path, I think. But we'll head to the next propaganda tower now. And that's another thing, is I actually didn't do this all in one run, so you might see me spawn in with like a different gun for one segment, and then all of a sudden I have a different gun or weapon, or maybe I'm in a different position or something when I start the next segment, so just be aware of that. Don't worry about it, just set the nav point where you need to and just follow that beam of light. Speaking of nav points, we are now nav pointing ourselves towards this Spartan Core over here. So we're going to grab this one. This one is a little tricky. You can see we landed on the surface here. This is where it told us to go, but it's not here. If we actually scan the ground, you'll actually be able to see it. It's actually underground. So you want to move your nav point over towards here where I just did and kind of follow that path. You don't need to follow that nav point exactly, but just go down into this trench here, this lower section. And if you hug the left side here, you'll find that as you get to the end, take a left, and you will find there's a doorway. We're going to head into here, and then we're going to sprint into here. There's going to be a bunch of enemies. You can fight them if you want. They're actually pretty overwhelming, even on the lower difficulties, because there's just a bunch of them. We're going to take a left and go into this door over here, though, and this room will contain the Spartan Core we're looking for. So you could just steal it and run out of there, or you could fight these guys. But again, they do become pretty overwhelming, even though it's supposed to be uneasy. They'll just run up and punch you anyway, especially that big guy. Now we'll head over to not the Spartan Locker, but the propaganda tower here. Faked you out there. But again, it really doesn't matter, you know, which ones you do first and which ones you do second or last. It doesn't matter, just as long as you do all of them. I'm just trying to do them in a vaguely, you know, sequential order, so you don't, you know, run back and forth more than you need to. But we just took that out. That is near the FOB Bravo base. And we will now go up to that Spartan Locker that I was teasing earlier. So we'll head up there. We'll land our Banshee. We'll hop out and get that Spartan Locker. Got to get all those armor coatings, bro. Flip our Banshee back over, hop in, and we will now mark the next item, which is another propaganda tower on the same kind of stretch of hills here. And we'll just fly up and over there, and we'll get there quickly enough with our Banshee. We'll blow it up. These obviously you don't need to say anything about. You just mark them and blow them up. Nothing tricky there. They're always on the surface. They're never underground like those pesky Spartan cores sometimes are. But we'll head into here now. This is the first outpost within this video. This is the Armory of Reckoning. And for the Banished outposts, I recommend actually completing them before you do this, just to make it easier to actually get in here and get all the stuff you need. Also, you could grab the stuff in there, you know, all the audio logs while you're completing them if you want. But, you know, these are all cleared out. So some doors might not be open by default. Some doors may only open when you complete these. So just be aware of that. You know, if you come across this guide or any other guide and, you know, there's a door that's open, but it's not open for you, that probably means you just haven't completed this outpost yet. So just clear it out and you will be able to, you know, get into the places you need to get into. But we just got that first Banished audio log, which is in the building that has the big ramp on the outside of it that leads up to the roof. So you can see that right here. And from this ramp, we're going to look out and take a right. So we're looking out, you know, across the base here, across the Armory of Reckoning. And you can see in the distance, in the wall, the rock wall over there, there's a garage-looking thing over there. So we're just going to speed over there, and we're going to find another Banished audio log just sitting up against the backside here. So we'll grab that, and now we'll whip open our TAC map again. And you'll notice that there is a road on the northeastern side of the Armory, and it's kind of where we are almost. So we're pretty much right on top of where we need to be, but we need to be a little bit more to the side. So there's a road that basically leads from the Armory on the northeastern side into this cave. This path is basically highlighted on your map, so just follow that path, and you'll find the first UNSC datapad, or audio log rather, in here. I keep saying datapads when they're audio logs. Just know that I mean audio log. But anyway, we'll place a nav point right about here, northwest of the icon for the Armory of Reckoning. And this will basically put the nav point on the northwestern side of the base. The base is actually a lot bigger than what the icon leads you to believe. So placing it right here will be the edge of the actual base. And we're going to find that there is a data pad up against a wall over here in the back of a broken down Warthog. And again, I said data pad even though it's an audio log. I don't know what an audio log should look like, but they shouldn't have made it look like a data pad if they wanted me to say audio log. You know what I mean? They look like the data pads from Reach almost. But anyway, whatever we're going to call it, here it is, right in the back of the Warthog, like I said. So grab that one, and we will head to the next item. The final item for this outpost is the Spartan Core, and you can see I'm back on the big ramp like I was earlier, and you can see the garages over there, just showing you kind of where I am so you could get your bearings, so you could go there yourself and then follow this path, which is going to take us to the left and inside these tunnels, which will take us underneath the Armory of Reckoning, and that is where the Spartan Core will be in the corner over here. So grab this one, open it up, and we will head to the next one. Back to our trusty TAC map, we are going to highlight the locker that is above Fob Alpha, or Alpha Fob, whatever we want to call it. Highlight it, and we're going to go over here. This one is also underground, so we're going to follow the nav point all the way to here, and we're going to find nothing. So we're going to have to actually back up a little bit, and there's going to be a cave that leads underneath where we just were. So there's going to be some enemies down there as well that are guarding the Spartan locker, but that's okay. We're just going to take them out real quick and then steal their booty. Whatever they were trying to hide from us, we're going to take that. It's just an armor coating. I don't know if they could apply it to their armor, but we could apply it to ours. So we have it for multiplayer use now. War Master's Prize Spanker. And now, since we're so close to Fob Alpha, let's just head to Fob Alpha. And like we all know by now, there is always not a data pad, there's always an audio log on the platform of every fob. So here's this one. Grab that. I'm going to call in a wasp. You don't need a wasp. Again, you could get all these without vehicles, but I'm just going to grab a wasp because this makes our lives easier. So you're going to go over here. If you don't have the wasp, obviously just grapple up these mountains. We're going to head over here, and there's going to be a lot of heavy brutes in this section, actually. There's one with one of those heavy turrets. There's one with a chopper, and we're just going to hop out. We don't need to fight these guys. Open this up from the correct side, and then we could just peace out of here. The next item is the Fog Skull, and we will be getting that with the Wasp once again. This is a little tougher to get without a flying vehicle, but it could be done. You just have to grapple in there. But there's basically a hole in the back side of the structure over here, the land mass, essentially. The entire map we're playing on, there's a hole over here, and we're just going to fly into it. So this could be a little tough to spot. You can see the nav point is very high up, indicating we should, go nowhere, essentially. There's no place to land where it's telling us, but you can see there's a little gap in the wall over here, and we're going to fly in, and there's going to be the Fog Skull waiting for us. It could be a little tough to find this spot, particularly the verticality, like how high or low you have to be to find this hole in the wall, but I find that it's really easy to just line up at the height of these 4 pillars right here, and we'll be able to just fly to the left and just maintain that height, don't go higher or lower, and that is the perfect height to get into that gap there. Now we will head a little bit south of Fob Alpha. There is a propaganda tower right here that needs blowing up, so we'll mark our nav point on that. We'll fly to it, we'll blow it up, rinse and repeat. We know how these things go here. These are self-explanatory, these propaganda towers. Blow it up, looks good. We will open up that TAC map again and see what is next on the list. We got a Spartan Core over here, and this one isn't underground. Imagine that. How considerate of it. It's not underground, but you know what? It's in a building, and the building's locked. So we have to go underground and then come up from above, or from below, rather, because it's locked behind all these doors, and the doors don't unlock. You could unlock them from inside, actually. I lied. But not from the outside. So basically, we need to find the kind of sneaky way to get in here, which is in another building in this section. So go into this building down here, and we're going to go into the back room, and there's going to be a hole in the ground. So we're going to be able to get underground, go into some tunnels, and there's some enemies in here as well. I killed them already, but you'll have to deal with them or just run past them. But just be aware that there's 2 exits to this tunnel. One leads you into the underside of the building where you need to go to get up and into the building to get the Spartan Core. The other one is actually going to lead you up into the mountains, so you don't want to go up. You want to continue kind of snaking your way through the tunnels. You shouldn't have to clamber, essentially. Just continue running along the floor. You'll get to this grav lift. You'll get up and into this building. There's going to be a bunch of enemies in here, though, so we'll have to clear those out. I will skip ahead to having killed them all, and now I can just go to the Spartan Core in the corner of this room, open it up, and we are moving on to the next item with our TAC map. Open that up. What do we got? We got a propaganda tower. Of course we do. We have 18 of these things. This is the most numerous collectible on this continent, except for audio logs, of course. We'll blow that up. We will open up our TAC map yet again, and we will be able to navigate to the next item, which is not labeled, but put your nav point right about where I put it there, and it's going to be in the middle of this kind of wasteland right here, right before you get to the excavation site. It's going to be next to a crashed flatbed truck, kind of just chilling right here in the middle of this wasteland, this scorched area. And this next part, excavation site, this has 2 audio logs that actually get locked if you don't complete them in your main playthrough. So once you complete the main campaign, they will no longer be obtainable. They're locked behind doors in the big building at excavation site. So that is something to be aware of. Fortunately, you could just go back and grab those 2. All the audio logs and these skulls are cumulative, so you could just mix and match which ones you get in different runs. So you could just literally go back and get these two only if these were the only two you missed, and you'll get the achievement. But we'll fly over here, and we're going to get the locker first, which is down on the ground here. It's right below the shade over here, where you could scan the area and see it pop up over there under the shade turret. So we'll drop down here, grab it, and there's also 2 Spartan cores in this area as well, so we'll grab those, and then we will tackle those 2 audio logs I was talking about that become locked if you don't get them in your main campaign playthrough. So activate that tac map, highlight the Spartan core that is closest to us, and we'll find that it's not that close. It's pretty high up, but we'll be able to clamber up there, or grapple up there, and clamber to assist our grappling fairly easily. It's not that high, but I mean, it's a lot higher than you would have thought. The armor locker was so nice and low for us. But the Spartan core is up here, so we'll climb up here for it. We'll grab it. We'll activate our tac map, highlight the other Spartan core, and this one is down on the lower level where we were. This one is a little tricky, though. It's trying to fake us out a little bit. This one is in the building over here, and it's not on the floor, but it's not on the roof either. It's in the rafters. So if you didn't know these buildings had rafters, now you do. You could use it to your advantage, maybe. Just kind of hide up there for a little bit for your shields to recharge on occasion, if your shields are low. But we'll get up here, get the Spartan core, and now we will tackle those 2 audio logs I was talking about. So once we get up into the structure here, you can see I'm at the main controls for this drill. You can see it's just blasting the foundation over there. You could actually just turn around, and you'll find the first one, the Banished audio log, just sitting right up against the half wall type thing right here. And then if we turn left and run all the way to the end, in the corner on the right side, there will be some kinetic ammo, and there will also be a BR and some rockets, and also an audio log. So grab that, and we will move on to the next section. So those 2 audio logs we just got, again, are 2 items you can miss in your first playthrough, and then you'll have to come back again, because those doors to that structure all lock once you complete the campaign. But now we will fast travel to Fob Bravo. You could go there manually if you want, if you have a vehicle or something you want to keep. But I just warped there, and now we will go up and to the left, and on the top of this mountain right here, I'm trying to place my nav point up there, but it wants to like push it off to the side of the mountain. But at the peak of that mountain, all the way on the eastern side, that eastern peak right up there, that is where an audio log is. So we're going to grapple all the way up there, and we will land, and there's going to be a sniper rifle up here as well. If you want to grab that, feel free. We're going to tac map again, just so we could try to place it up there, just to make it easier to navigate to, but it won't do it. It's not exact, but it just gives you a general idea of where you want to go. Good enough in most cases. But we'll just go up to the peak here. It's really easy to find. It's literally the easternmost peak, the highest point of this mountain on the east side. So grab that. We will go back to the FOB base, the Bravo FOB base, rather. Grab the Wasp if you have it. If you don't have a Wasp, don't worry about it. We're just going to highlight this armor locker over here. We will land over here real quick. There's some enemies nearby. But we'll just land, grab the armor locker, and peace out. They're going to start shooting at us, but we're going to just leave, because this is all we're worried about right now. And then we'll open up that tac map again, and we'll move towards the east now, once again from FOB Bravo as our base of operation for now. And you can see it's on the edge of the map over there. We'll go grab this, and then we'll head into the Horn of Abolition down below. So we'll grab this one right here, sitting alone by an overturned warthog. On the edge of the map, very lonely over here. Grab that, and we'll head into the Horn of Abolition. This first audio log we're going to grab is up on a mountain kind of overlooking the Horn of Abolition. So this is going to be our second outpost that we tackle. But you can see I put a nav point on the mountain, so put a nav point generally in that area. It'll get you close enough where you could hear the audio log beeping, and then we'll be able to fly up exactly to where it is. As we all know, the nav points aren't exact, especially when it comes to the more vertical parts of the map where there's a lot of change of verticality. But we'll just get over here, and there's a sniper and an audio log for us. And I didn't put a nav point down just then. I meant to, but I did not do it in error. But we're basically just going to go to the northeastern side of this base here, and you're going to find that there's an audio log chilling by this tree on the northeastern side. So plop yourself down right here, grab that audio log, and we'll move into the base now. Again, I completed all these outposts already, so there's way less enemies, and all the doors are open. So if there's any doors that you're finding are locked, and there's, an audio log behind it that you need to get, just complete the outpost, and you'll be able to, have all those doors open for you. If you don't know how to complete outposts, basically just run around the base, kill everybody, and use your scan function to highlight all the objectives So it'll highlight doors you need to open or things you need to break and stuff like that. But this is the first Banished audio log in this area. So we'll grab that, and then we will head in this direction, basically across diagonally to the other side of the base here. Head into this doorway up ahead here, and we are going to find the second Banished audio log for this base up against the wall. Grab that, and we have a Spartan Core to get, which could be found on the other side of the base. We'll head up to the roof here, and we're just going to go back to where we landed our Wasp, and I'm just going to hop in the Wasp. And you could obviously, you don't need the Wasp here at all. I'm just more quickly getting across the map with the Wasp. We're going to fly over to this side, and in this structure over here, there is the Spartan Core. So you can't actually get in through that doorway. It's a little too tight for your big, bulky Spartan booty. We'll just drop in from the roof here. There's a hole in the roof. You could drop down, hit that Spartan Core. And that's a wrap on the Horn of Abolition. I'm at Fob Bravo yet again. I could have stayed at the Horn of Abolition because it's actually a little closer, but we're going to go to where Thunder Squad is and then move a little bit to the left and put a nav point down there. There is going to be a crashed Pelican, and inside is going to be yet another audio log. So we're going to just speed past these sleeping grunts with our mongoose that I found on the way, dip into the Pelican, and grab that audio log. Next, we are going to tackle the Propaganda Tower, which is southeast of us, but I'm going to be confused for a second about where I'm going. But then we'll mark it, and we will head over in this direction. We all know the drill here. We're going to fly up, grapple up, drive over, whatever we're going to do, and just blow up this Propaganda Tower. And then from there, we'll tackle the next item we have to go destroy or collect. Pulling up the TAC map, I'm yet again showing a little bit of confusion about what I want to actually do, but I end up marking this locker over here on the right edge of the map, so we're going to just fly over in that direction, and we'll land nicely beside it and grab this armor coating. If we could find it, the nav points are acting up again. They're not exact, so I'll just pulse my scan function there, and it'll highlight the nearby locker. There it is, behind the rock. So we'll just land over here, grab that, and we will take whatever armor coating happens to be inside. Whatever it is, we'll take it. Open it up, then open that TAC map again. This time we are headed to a UNSC distress signal, which you may be wondering why we're doing that, because we're not going after distress calls, but there's actually a audio log sitting right behind the Foxhound distress signal. So we're going to fly up here. We're going to ignore their cries for help, like we did with Starlight Squad in Part 2. And I'm now realizing that in this particular playthrough, in this footage, I already saved them, so there goes that joke. But anyway, we're going to land, regardless of whether Foxhound is here or not. Their icon will remain there, so you could use it as a nav point. We'll highlight this armor locker towards the left, towards the west side. We're working our way down slope now. And once we arrive, we're gonna steal that armor coating. What am I gonna say? Open up the TAC map. Let's see what it says. It says we're gonna go over here and destroy this propaganda tower. So let's get to it. We're flying away from this armor locker, which is now empty. And we'll blow this thing up over here. And once we do, we will yet again open up our TAC map. So this thing's all set. TAC mapping it up, and let's go for this artifact, the second of two Forerunner artifacts in this part of the game here. We'll fly up here. And it's really easy to spot this from afar because it's just a giant circle and they're never underground like those Spartan Cores like to be sometimes. No tricks from the artifacts. We'll pan over towards the west and a little bit north, and that will bring us to another propaganda tower. We're going to blow that up. Throwing you curveballs here. We're actually going to blow this one up. So get your weapons ready. And when you see it, have at it. Just let loose. Once we blow this one up, we are going to go to Bob Charlie. And you know where the audio log is on this one. It's always on the platform somewhere, and it's always beeping at you, so you should be able to find it real quick. And we'll head back to our ride if we have one. And from this point, from Fob Charlie, you could actually just go straight towards the tallest part of the map here, and that would be this mountain over here. You could just drive straight, and you will be led to a audio log. So we're just going to kind of highlight between Fob Charlie and the highest peak, and we'll just drive right across the audio log. It's going to end up being behind this rock, but as you kind of just take this path, you'll definitely be able to hear it. And you'll hear it for real. You won't be hearing it like you've been searching all over Zeta Halo for the past week, 12 hours a day, trying to find these beeping things, and you hear them in your sleep now. No, this one is real. So pick that one up. That one will count towards your 36 for this part of the map. And speaking of maps, it's TAC map time. Pull it up. Pull it up. And I'm back to being indecisive here. I don't know where I want to go. I end up just shooting all the way out west, even though there's some things that are closer to me. I'm just going to work my way down from the west side over here. So we'll fly in that direction. And we highlighted an armor locker, so we'll pick that up. Never say no to an armor coating. We'll land. It'll be sitting up against a rock here. Hop out and open this thing up. We'll open up that map again. And what do we highlight this time? This time, I'm more decisive. We're just going to go straight down to this propaganda tower. We're just going to blow this thing up. And this tower is very close to that locker we just picked up. Barely had to skip ahead at all. We're going to blow this thing up like we do. And then we're going to slap a nav point on the Spartan Core on the east side of the Forge of Tish. So this is another Banished outpost. So again, I destroyed everything in it and killed everything. And so there's now just a few enemies that like to respawn in here, so it's a lot easier to deal with. I'm going to fly over to the far building here and land on it, and I'm just going to drop down and go in here. There's going to be a Banished audio log sitting up against the ramp that leads to the second level in this building, and this ramp actually leads up to a Spartan Core as well, so you get a 2-for-1 in this building. From here, I'm going to open up the TAC map, and I'm going to place a nav point kind of up at the northern ridge here. There's going to be a cave we want to get into a little higher up than where we are, so we're going to have to do a little bit of grappling, but I just put a nav point over there, and it's actually not even in a really great spot, but just follow this direction, follow this path that I'm taking here, and we'll just forget that nav point exists, but we're just going to go up here. As you get to this wall, you want to go up the rock that's behind it, and we'll just climb up here. We got to get up to this area, and there's going to be a cave that's lit. You want to go into this lit cave in the wall here, and there's going to be a UNSC audio log sitting in the back here, so we'll grab that one. Once again, starting back at that Spartan Core, we'll just drop down, and we're going to go towards the middle of the base here, and you don't need to hijack this guy. He was just in my way, so I hijacked him. You can see there's a garage-type opening here we're just going to go through, and at the back right of this garage, there's going to be a Banished audio log sitting up against the something over here. Sitting up against something. Grab that, regardless of what it's sitting up against. And I'm yet again at that building with the Spartan Core. I'm on top now on the roof, and we're going to place a nav point to the left of that Ascension-looking Forerunner structure, the Ascension Halo 2 multiplayer map. Basically that Forerunner structure up on top of the hill here. Go to the left of it, and you'll find that there is an audio log sitting right next to it. Once you get to this point, you'll hear it beeping, and I'm getting shot from a bunch of directions as I try to get this, but it's right here. There is a high-value target right by Balcarus, so there's a lot of enemies usually in this area, but you can usually just sneak in, grab it, and peace out, so that's what we'll do. Now we are back yet again on top of that same building that we've been kind of using as a point of reference, and we're just going to turn around from Balcarus, turn around, do a 180, and we're just going to fly over to this cliff over here, and you're going to find that there is an audio log sitting here as well. So grab this, and then from here, we're going to turn around and follow this cliffside with Tish to the right side. We're going to fly along this cliff to our left here, and as it turns into those Forerunner hexagonal columns, it's going to have an audio log over here on top of some of these lower ones here by the waterfall. So hop out, hop up, and then get that audio log, and we'll get back into our Wasp, and we will go to the next one. So we'll pull up that TAC map and find out what the next thing to collect is. And looking at the map, there's actually a Spartan locker real close by. If we go up that wall that the waterfall is pouring over down towards us, there is a river, of course, where the waterfall is coming from, and right by the river, there's a Spartan locker right before it kind of falls over the edge. So we're going to land and grab the Spartan locker, and then we'll move on to the next item, which we're going to fly over towards this this propaganda tower. We could continue going upriver because there's actually an audio log right next to the river along with another Spartan locker even further down, but I felt like we should take out this propaganda tower first apparently, and we'll deal with those items I was just talking about shortly after. And by shortly after I mean right now. So we'll double back towards that river. Right under this bridge here, there's going to be the other Spartan locker I was talking about. So we'll land, hop out, grab that Spartan locker, and then I'm not even going to get back into the Wasp here. I'm just going to go on foot. I'm just going to run down the river. And on the left side, as we run downstream, there's going to be a Spartan, or not a Spartan, an audio log. And, well, it is a Spartan audio log, I believe, so that did make sense. I should have just kept talking. but I just put a nav point about where it is. It's very close right there by the trees along the left side of the river. You're going to have to climb out, use that grapple a little bit, and you'll find it beeping over here. You can always find them beeping. So up against this rock, you'll find it, grab it, and we will go back to our Wasp now and pull up the TAC map. We'll see what is next on the agenda. Looks like a Spartan Core to me, and this one is not on the surface, so we're going to have to go into a structure yet again, but this one is really easy. So unlike the other annoying ones, this one you could just like walk into a doorway and get, so this one isn't too bad. You can see it is in there, and I'm doing a lap. I'm like, is this on the outside, on the side of it somewhere? No, it's inside. It's indoors. It won't get wet in there from the rainfall, but you just go in here. There's a doorway that is kind of broken, but it's open enough that you could get through. And you just open it up, and that is that for that Spartan Core. Open that TAC map again, and we will head over towards this propaganda tower, towards the southwestern side of this continent. We are getting close, fellas, to the end of this. We're going to stay consistent here. We're going to blow up this propaganda tower as well. And then from here, there's actually a nearby audio log. So once you do blow this up, don't stray too far. And from where this tower used to be, we're going to turn towards the right, which will point us in a northwest direction. And we're just going to kind of follow this narrow strip of land. And we want to stay towards the left side because that's where the audio log is going to be. So you're going to hear it beeping. Just kind of hover over the ground, pretty close to the ground, so you could hear it as you pass over it. This vehicle could be pretty loud, so you don't want to gun it, because then you might not hear the audio log, and then you might just pass right over it. But it's pretty close by, so you should be able to find it real quick. From there, we're going towards that central propaganda tower. Mark that, and we will head over. We will blow it up like we do, and then we will move to the next item that we probably have to grab and collect rather than blow up. These propaganda towers are unique in that we blow them up. Kind of the opposite of collectibles, I guess, but they kind of fell into this series, so there we go. Down to Fob Echo we go, and we know there's going to be a data pad, and we know that data pads are actually audio logs. And the audio logs are always found on the platform somewhere, so grab that. It'll be beeping like crazy if you haven't done it already. And then from there, we are going to go across the road, which is to the north. And right across this road is a somewhat biggish rock, and behind this rock, there's going to be another audio log, which is not a data pad. After grabbing that, we are going to go towards the south of Fob Echo, and we're going to find a Spartan locker, an armor locker down there. So grab that. We'll get a sexy new armor coating for our multiplayer Spartan. Be able to taunt other players with different armor coatings on. It's going to be great. Open up that little guy, and we'll open up our TAC map again. Everything's getting opened up today. So we will find that the next thing we're going to grab is the Spartan Core in the final outpost. And this outpost is the Redoubt of Sundering. So we're going to land here, grab the Spartan Core, and then as we're facing the Spartan Core, we could turn up to the left, and there's going to be kind of a platform up there, a catwalk. We want to get up there, and there's going to be a cave in the wall that we want to go into, and there's going to be an audio log in there. So that is what we're interested in. So grab that once we get all the way in there. And feel free to use your flashlight. If you didn't know you had a flashlight, you do. It's back and better than ever. So we'll grab that data pad or that audio log, and then once we do, we're just going to double back towards the base because there is going to be stuff in that base that we still want to get. So I put a nav point to the north of the icon for the Redoubt of Sundering, and that is where there's going to be a plateau, and on top of that plateau is going to be an audio log. So that's what we're here for. Yet again, the audio logs, the propaganda towers, we love them all. So fly over here, grab this, and then from here, we are actually going to go diagonally across to the other side of the base from this plateau. And when we get there, there's going to be a big building in the back that will have an open door. Again, the door won't be open if you haven't completed this outpost, so complete the outpost if you haven't already. The door will open to this big building in the back that we're going to, and there's going to be a Banished audio log in here. And from that Banished audio log, we're going to do a 180 and go out to this building kind of in the middle of the Redoubt of Sundering. And you could use your scan function to kind of ping through the walls and find it more easily. You could find it here in this building, as mentioned, and we will move on to other items. Mainly the Spartan Core to the north. And fortunately, this particular Spartan Core is not one of those tricksy Spartan Cores that is a pain to get. It is inside, but it's just a lifeboat, so it's pretty It's a pretty small craft here, so it's easy to get in and out. Squeeze in there, grab it, and squeeze out. We'll activate our tack map and take care of these last remaining items. We are almost there, and from here, this Spartan Core, we're going to go towards the right, and there is an armor locker here. So activate your nav point for that, and we'll just head over in that direction and open that armor locker up. Find a Spartan coating, or an armor coating rather, for your Spartan, and we will move on to the next item with our tack map yet again. And we're in the final section, kind of the spire section. We're ringing around that area, so we're really closing in on it here, fellas. Go to this propaganda tower once you point it out on your navigation here. Blow it up, and we will move on to the next item, which is going to be a Spartan Core down towards the right here, down toward the lower left of the spire section, but down towards our right. So we're just going to fly over here, and we'll bail out of this wasp, and we will open this up, and we're not even going to get back in our wasp. There is a very close audio log towards our left. It's actually towards the front end of a crashed warthog over here, where there used to be a wheel. Well, the wheel is there, but it's just not attached anymore. Pick that up. We'll go back to our wasp, and then we're going to fly up towards yet another propaganda tower, which I believe is the last one, I hope. We'll see. We're going to find out soon. But you can see this nav point didn't actually land right where the propaganda tower was. So we know the drill. If it's not where the nav point is, we know it's at least real close. So just kind of look around. It's in the trees here. We will then go from this propaganda tower over to the fob. So we got a fob real close by here. Fob Delta, to be specific. We don't really need to mark it. I kind of just have to turn around a little bit, and then it'll be right there. But hey, you know, make it easier when you can. So we'll fly up here. We'll bail out. We'll grab that data pad, which is, of course, an audio log. We know by now. Definitely an audio log, and I shouldn't be saying data pad anymore. We'll hop in that wasp. We'll mark that locker over here. We'll fly down. We will open it. I swear to God we're going to. What else do you do with armor lockers? Keep them closed? That's not very useful. That would be a time capsule. These aren't time capsules. Open it up. Open it up. We're going to use them in multiplayer. And then we have just one more item to go, and it's a Spartan Core, and it's a weird one. Weird, but not awful. So this one is at the bottom tip down here, all the way south of the spire, and it's basically approachable from two angles. There's a cave system that you could go through from the spire side, but you could also just fly around to the other side of it towards kind of the big gap between the continents, and you could just drop down into a very small opening where the Spartan Core is. So you could avoid fighting your way through that cave system. There's a bunch of enemies down there, but you could just drop from above down to where the Spartan Core is and just yoink it from behind those guys. So that's what we're going to do. You can see the opening right here, and the Spartan Core is just sitting there. There's a bunch of guys in there, and even more if you go deeper in. You're supposed to fight your way through them, I assume, but you don't have to. You can just do this. So I'm going to land my wasp up here so I don't blow it up by bailing on it. We're going to drop down here. You could just, you know, shove your wasp in there and try to land it in there or whatever, but I was being safe with my wasp for some reason. Grab this Spartan Core, yoink yourself out of here, and we'll see you later, guys. But that's it for all these collectibles, guys. This was a long one. Thanks for sticking around. It's currently 4:38 a.m. my time, so I'm about to go to bed. Finding a ridiculous amount of collectibles across a ridiculously large map has not been a quick process, but we're getting there. Part 4 is coming out pretty much immediately because I already have that one done. Part 5 and 6 coming up soon, guys. Thanks for watching again, and I will see you for the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. If you found that video helpful, be sure to click on the scorpion icon to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications. You could also check out some related guides by clicking on the videos on screen, and you can find links in the description for other social media links of mine. Stay tuned for more Halo guides, and I'll see you in the next one.